La 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 la. Screen peeking. Bop bop bop.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 38 of Screen Peeking, a weekly podcast where Ziggy and I get together to talk about video games and anything video game related. Today, we finally get to talk about Elden Ring. I am beyond excited. Ziggy.
Watching the trailer for that, if we're just jumping right into it. Yeah,
I'm jumping right in.
It does honestly look really cool even to me, which is kind of saying something, but even more so like looking at it, I was watching it like, God, like Nick is going to think this is the coolest shit watching it. I'm just so excited for like you and everybody else who's been waiting for this. I don't know. It's awesome.
Yeah, I am so excited to talk more about it, but I'm getting ahead of myself, obviously. We always start the show with what we've been playing, how we've been doing. So, as always, Zig, what have you been playing? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I just recently ordered, I'm excited about this, from eBay. It was like $80. I ordered just a bunch of like old broken game consoles. I think there's like 4 PS2s, which is kind of nuts, the fact that I own 4 broken PS2s now. A Wii.
They're all broken?
And some other shit. Yeah, and so I'm excited. I'm going to go in, kind of try to refurbish them. I definitely want to keep one for myself. And then I'm going to just try to sell the others and try to make a profit off it. Because the profit margin on that's pretty good.
Make a big chain attached to it, hanging around your neck.
And then, so just today I went to like a used game shop too and I bought Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 and Metal Gear Solid 3 for it, which I'm both pretty excited about. Pretty good too. They're like both less than $20, which was kind of surprising. But yeah, I'm excited about that. Other than that, I finished a lot of games in the last couple of weeks. I finished One Shot, which I'm not going to talk about too much because I already have a whole hour podcast to be talking about it out there. Episode 2 of the Vertical Slice. You can find it on all podcast services everywhere or anchor.fm/the Vertical Slice. Actually, just Vertical Slice, I think.
I also have your link in the description below. So,
cool. Thank you.
Yeah, everyone will be able to check that out.
So yeah, episode 2 that is out. If you're interested, I think it's a pretty good episode. I think it's an amazing game. You should go check that out. Also, though, I finished Bugsnax. Which is a fucking wild game. I was enjoying it all the way through. I thought it was cute, fun, I kind of get to the point like, I kind of know what this game has to offer. And then the ending just fucking tears that all down, gets real weird, real dark. I don't want to spoil anything, but like, if you've played Bugsnax and didn't finish it, I would finish it if I were you. And if you haven't played Bugsnax and kind of wrote it off as just like a meme game, I definitely wouldn't do that. It is actually a genuinely really fucking good game. Yeah.
Okay. You've convinced me. I'll go install it again. I'll play it.
Yeah. It's cool. It's got a lot of cool ideas. It's kind of, to me, what I wish Pokemon was, I suppose. Like, playing it almost made me kind of understand the appeal of Pokemon and why people are so attached to that IP, because it has never done anything for me in the past. I think I've talked about it on here before. But a lot of just like watching them interact with each other and like fight with each other, or, run around, all these things, just like this whole ecosystem of little fictional creatures. I think it's just super fun to interact with. And the way that to, capture one of them, you have to interact with the other creatures and environment around it. It's a really cool sort of like interconnected puzzle. I think the level design and sort of puzzle design in it is super smart. The story is a lot better than I was expecting and kind of actually deals with some real shit. It has also weirdly good LGBT representation, which again was not expecting that from a game about like Muppets and Bugsnax, but here we are. It was just a really cool game. And then I also finished Resident Evil 8, which I don't even know if I've talked about starting it on this show.
No, you haven't.
But yeah. I started playing it and I finished it, and I really fucking like it. But I think we talked about doing like a spoiler cast for it. So,
yeah, exactly. And so for those who don't know, I still haven't finished it. My wife and I are still taking our time going through it. If it was just me, I'd probably play through it too fast. So this is really I think you played through it a good amount of times, Zig. But I'm definitely itching to go through and just finish it now. But finding that evening is tough. So when I do, like you were starting to say, Ziggy and I will definitely be getting together. We're hoping to bring Jesse in, and because he's played through, he's beaten the game. He's beaten it twice now. I think he's beaten it on the hardest difficulty as well. So hoping that he can join us and that we can get all three of us together to have like just a good spoiler cast episode on RE8. All have different opinions. Jesse's a huge fan of like the classic Resident Evils, so we definitely want his opinion on that. Yeah, sorry to steal the show there from you. Go ahead, continue.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, and then so I'll probably talk about a lot more then, so I don't want to talk about it too much now. And then also, Resident Evil 8 is the next episode for the Vertical Slice podcast so if you really want that like, analytical sort of deep dive game design shit on that game, because there's a lot. I think this is a really elegantly designed game. Get hyped for that. So most of the games I finished, I don't really want to get too in depth on, so I'll just sort of lean it over to you, Nick. What have you been playing?
Just Hades, man. Just Hades. I've been playing this game for just over a week, I think now, or maybe just under. And man, I just can't. I think I just hit the first day where I was able to put it down, so to speak, where I'm not just, I gotta play it more, I gotta play more. I've gotten pretty far. I've gotten to the final boss multiple times, gotten really close to beating the final boss multiple times. I just haven't quite gotten that perfect run yet. But I am having such a fun time playing with the different boons and the buffs that the different gods give you, and then mixing them and matching which ones I think are best, choosing the right rooms that I think will be the most optimal for my run, and just getting to know the different weapons and upgrading the I don't know, your room and stuff like that, and your passive buffs, and choosing which abilities to use. It's so much fun, man. I just love that game. I can totally see why people were talking about how great it was last year. I knew I would like it, but I did not know how much I'd like it, and so it was a nice surprise. Other than that, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Hades is just, it's so one of those games that I know that I will probably like, but just refuse to like put the time into for some reason. Like I know I'll like it, I just need to actually sit down and start playing it, and I'm sure I'll get addicted. But
I was in the same boat.
Hearing like you talk about it, and then I also have some other friends who similarly sort of wrote it off when it first came off, when it first came out, and then we're like, oh Jesus, this is really incredible. I just need to actually take the plunge and do it.
I think something that I wasn't expecting, so I just want to let you know for if when you do finally give it the chance, there's definitely like, I knew there would be some stuff you learn or unlock a little bit later, but like I didn't realize how much more the game opens up and like you start to learn more like a few hours into the game. So definitely like once you'll know whether you have fun with the combat right away, I'd say, but like you only get the sword option right at the start, and then eventually you can get other weapons, but then a lot of them are locked, so you have to do a few more runs until you can unlock those other weapons. And then as you're doing those weapons, each weapon individually will get specific buffs that you only get for those weapons. So you can't really see how that playstyle will play out until you get all these different boons from the different gods and how they kind of work for that weapon, work for the shield versus the sword versus the javelin. And I think that is like, so if you find you're just not liking the weapon, I would say, I wanted to put that out there, because sometimes I know a weapon can feel really off depending on the person. And if you're like, oh, this isn't great, I know you probably know that there's other weapons, but definitely give other ones a shot, because they play so differently.
Yeah, that's actually good to know. I know a couple times I've played through games and be like, oh, I don't like this combat, and then I've tried a weapon that I actually like, and then realized that I like it significantly more. So
let's get right into the Summer Game Fest that just happened.
No.
What?
We don't want to get into that just yet.
Why not? Are you sure? I'm just distracted trying to crop you properly.
Something you want to talk about what came in the mail today?
Oh yeah, I guess so. I got my Xbox Series X. I didn't tell anyone I ordered it, but I did. I ordered it on Monday, so like 4 days ago is the time of recording, and I was pretty stoked that I got this thing. So it just arrived today. I haven't really gotten to play anything on it, just set it up and came in here and started recording. So I'm pretty stoked. I really look forward to seeing how it compares to the PS5, and just I'm already loving the UI. I'm loving the everything about it, how fast it is, how quick it is to move around and to do all the different, to just get all set up. I liked being able to just use my Xbox app and then just go through all the settings on my phone, and then I looked up at my TV and everything was like hooked up and signed in and ready to go. But that was really cool.
Yeah, I think you're gonna really enjoy the experience of being both a PC and an Xbox player, because the compatibility between those two platforms it's really good. Almost like Apple levels of good in terms of how well it integrates everything. But yeah, like you said, let's kind of jump into some Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, so you said to me earlier you did not watch the whole event, right?
No, yeah, I just sort of watched the trailers afterward.
Right. So I had the unfortunate experience of watching the whole thing. No, it wasn't unfortunate, but it was long. It was like 2 hours long, I want to say, close to that. And while there were trailers, there were a couple of things that were somewhat interesting. Obviously, for me, the only thing I really took away from the show was the final thing they showed, which was Elden Ring. It was the final part of the show, so I had sat through about 2 hours of, oh, that's kind of cool. I wonder, oh, that might be neat. And then that was about it. So I've just brought up a list beside me just to kind of go through the games, and then, we can skip through. We don't have to talk about any of them. I just want to bring one up, and if I want to talk about it, I'll start talking about it. If you have one that you want to talk about, let me know, okay?
All right,
I just want to kind of, because there was a lot shown here, and there's definitely some that you don't expect me to talk about that I want to talk about. So they started off the show with or I don't even know. I'm just going through at IGN right now, just looking through a list that they have here. And the first thing on the list is, and it's one of the first things I remember from the show, is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which was an announcement from like Gearbox, of course. They are just working on basically it's a Borderlands game, but it's set in fantasy. It's set kind of like, it's basically like the DLC to Borderlands 2, which was like themed around Dungeons and Dragons. It was the assault on, I want to say Dragon Keep or something like that. I loved that DLC though back then, and so I think this could be a lot of fun. But after playing Borderlands 3 recently, I realized like that's definitely, I don't have the excitement for Borderlands as I used to back in Borderlands 2, where that game I put thousands of hours into. Borderlands 3, I've beat it a couple times, and that was almost too much for me. So I really enjoyed Borderlands 3 a lot, and I think it's such a good, it's a quality game that's like really well made. I think it's really fun to play with friends, but I don't find the replay the value in replaying it right now for myself. So I'm interested in this game. I wouldn't say I'm excited about it. Probably like had a 6 out of 10 for interest. You have any thoughts on that?
It's funny. I didn't watch the trailer, and I'm not really a Borderlands guy, so I don't really have a ton to say about it. But what you're saying on Borderlands 3, I was just talking to Owen the other day about it, because he just started playing it recently. Because yeah, same thing. He loved Borderlands 2. And I think the way he described it to me was that like Borderlands 3 is a really good game. It's just Borderlands 2 is like so good and so phenomenal that Borderlands 3 really just doesn't like it's still like he's having a great time going through it, but when you compare the two experiences, it's hard. It's definitely in the shadow of 2 is how we describe it. And it seems like you feel somewhat similar on it.
Yeah,
like,
I feel like the gameplay is better than 2, but I feel like the story definitely is worse. The protagonist or antagonist, sorry, in 2 is a lot better. Handsome Jack's just such a great villain.
Yeah, no, honestly, like the story of Borderlands is, I actually do really enjoy. Like Tales from the Borderlands, I fucking loved.
That's a great game.
And then the bits I've played of Borderlands 2, I mean, Handsome Jack is such an awesome villain. Less even the actual story than just like the characters and the tone of it. And yeah, I think that's why, because I liked Borderlands 2. I didn't finish it just because the gameplay of it didn't really catch me. But then with Borderlands 3, I remember when they revealed it, and there's the whole sort of like vlogger, like
the YouTuber
thing
team
going
or whatever.
on with I was like, I guess that's fine. I don't know. It's just so much less interesting than Handsome Jack on a pretty massive scale, at least to me. But yeah, I mean, Tiny Tina, I agree. I played a little bit of the DLC in 2, and the sort of like D&D theme of it. I didn't watch a trailer for this, but do you think it's the same thing? Do you think it's also going to be sort of like a D&D centered, or at least inspired experience?
Yeah, well, so Ashley Birch was kind of the one talking about it a lot. She voices Tiny Tina on the show there, or in the game, but she was on the show there talking about it, and she was saying that it is very much like they were taking what they loved from the Assault on Dragon Keep, from the DLC of Borderlands 2 for this game. And so like it is very much focused on that. She is going to be like, you know, the bunker master or something like that, kind of like the dungeon master of this game, and kind of playing this almost the same role as she did in the DLC. Which, have you played it, by the way, that DLC?
I also didn't finish it, but yeah, I started. I kind of know the vibe.
So you know how like she would like say this is going to happen, and then it happens in the game, like, oh, the woods, and then they're like, oh, these are magical woods, and it looks all beautiful, and like, no, it's supposed to be like enchanted, it's like evil and stuff like that. And so then it gets all dark and evil looking, and you're like, oh, that's cool, it just happened in front of me. That kind of stuff. I imagine that's going to come back. They also said that that you're going to use magic, and they're kind of using this as an opportunity to not just have it as a copy and paste from Borderlands, that there will be a lot of similar things to Borderlands where there is looting, there is stuff like that, but it is a Borderlands kind of a game, but where they don't have to worry so much about following certain rules. So I guess having...
Oh wait, is this its own game?
Yeah, it's not a DLC.
Oh shit! I was under the impression this was just a DLC. That's really cool.
Yeah. And visually,
the whole experience.
Visually, it's the same engine. Like it's definitely the same as Borderlands 3, but they're making it. That's why they're calling it Wonderlands, not Borderlands. And you know they're having this as this separate thing where I feel like it's more for creative freedom, where you can kind of break some of the rules that people are like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. You'll be able to customize your own character. So that's new, because you normally have to choose a class, of course. So it's really going to be focused around customizing your character, probably more focused around like the RPGs where like you can really create what kind of class you are. I'm guessing. But yeah. Anyways, that was cool. That was neat to see. I want to see more, because it wasn't a gameplay trailer. So it was definitely like an engine trailer, but not anything else. It'll be interesting to see. They also showed Metal Slug Tactics, which I don't even remember seeing. Death Stranding Director's Cut.
Is it? Hang on. Yeah. I actually really like Metal Slug. I also did not even remember seeing a trailer for this. So I'm just gonna watch right now, and it does look like it's actually all animated. Yeah, okay. That's cool. It does use like the original sort of pixel art style from the original.
It's like a strategic Metal Slug game. Right?
Yeah. That's cool. I kind of dig that. To be honest, the visuals are like the main appeal of Metal Slug to me. Like that,
right?
The pixel art animation in those games is like
the animation specifically is so fun.
Arguably the best of that era, I would say. Like it might be one of the best looking games in that sort of like pixel art era. So yeah, seeing that modern is very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited about that. If it's like $20 or something, I probably would pick it up.
Nice. They also had a Death Stranding Director's Cut announced for the PS5, and that really, I don't care for Death Stranding, so that didn't get me either, but it was a fun little video where they basically just had the main character, don't even know his name, looking at this like stealthy situation. Did you watch this trailer, by the way?
Yeah.
That was just fun. Like, you totally think he's going to put on the box and sneak around all these guards. I don't need to get into it explaining. If someone wants to see, they can watch it. But
it was a weird trailer.
It was a weird trailer.
There was a box full of oranges. He just sort of dumps it out, puts it on the ground. He gets in the box. Not like over top. He just sort of sits and he's like, all right. And like gets out, puts it back on the shelf, and then leaves. I'm like, okay. It's a really weird sort of like, probably some kind of symbolism of Kojima saying like, leaving the series behind. Like, I'm not going back. Or I don't even know. But I do really like Death Stranding. I don't know. The games coming to next gen doesn't usually get me super hyped, but I watched that and went, man, I should finish Death Stranding, and so that's worth something.
Yeah, like that's great. I love it when games are at least supporting the next generation, because like even going through one of the first things I did with the few minutes I had on my Xbox was looking for that X and S like logo. Like I want it to be like optimized for the new console, because that's important to me now that I have it. So anyways, I think that's good, but it's definitely not exciting. The next thing on here, we have Jeff Goldblum helped reveal Jurassic World Evolution 2, which I didn't even know there was a 1. So another one that for me went right over my head, but it was just fun watching the dialogue.
Like a Zoo Tycoon thing, right? That's what I remember the first one. Yeah, I think you manage a Jurassic Park, which is kind of neat, but I don't know. I don't really have anything saying it.
That would make sense. I was getting excited when I first saw it. I was like, oh, a dinosaur game? Like, is this going to be like some kind of cool thing? And I'm like, oh, I don't even know what this is. It's just a CG trailer. And I have no clue what the game is. And then it showed it too, and I just didn't. I had no idea. I don't. There's an MMO called Lost Ark that I don't know anything about either. We got Among Us adding a hide and seek mode and some other stuff. I don't play Among Us. Salt and Sacrifice was something I thought was cool. There's so Salt and Sanctuary was like a indie game that came out a few years ago. And I know I got it on the PS4, and it's very Souls-like but side-scrolling, right? And more 2D, a lot of hand-drawn art. Not the biggest fan of the art myself, but I do like, it's fine. Like, I'm not going to bash it. It's just not my kind of thing. But I did like the gameplay, and the bosses and the combat was fun for me as someone who's really into Dark Souls. It very much played like Dark Souls 1, and I had a lot of fun with that one. So this one looked more of the same. I have not played the first one in so long. I have not played Salt and Sanctuary in so long, so Salt and Sacrifice didn't look any different to me. So awesome. It could be more of the same, could be fun. We got 2 Point Campus officially announced, which is just like 2 Point Hospital, but with a campus, I guess. I haven't played either of those.
I don't know anything about that series.
So
yeah.
We also got other stuff. I'll just like look through here. There was this one, this game called Anacrusis or Anacrusis. I'm not sure exactly which way you're supposed to say it, but it was officially announced, and it looked like. Yeah, actually, IGN describes it really well. Left 4 Dead style co-op shooter. It looked like you're just fighting aliens and you're on this like cruise ship or something. It's very much set in like a different time period, right? Very much like it kind of reminded me of Deathloop in terms of like the style and the visuals. But then you're fighting aliens.
Oh yeah.
And it just didn't quite look polished. It was like something that right away I thought, oh, I want to like this, and the music and everything I was watching, I was like, this is something I want to like, but it did look very, very early, very generic to me, so it's not something I'm really interested in.
I'm watching it right now. It kind of looks like it was made in dreams, I think is
right.
The best way.
Yeah, that's a really good example of that. And you just got like 3,000 of the same model just running around. I don't know, it's just, I don't want to bash it. It's just, it didn't quite look like something that really pulled me in, but I wanted to like it.
It definitely looks like a budget title, but yeah, I think the art direction is actually really solid in it, even if the actual like polish in the art isn't that great. And yeah, I think that sort of like retrofuturism, like 70s look that Deathloop's going for, it does the same thing, which is cool. I love that look. Yeah, I had not heard of it until right now, but it does look cool if you can get past sort of the very rough looking technically the visuals.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest thing with that trailer was it was a lot of the same scene. It just kept flashing through a scene of a guy with the same gun shooting the same enemy, and then it flipped to another scene, different position, same gun shooting the same enemies, another scene, and maybe even different gun but shooting the same enemies. And so then at the very end of the trailer, it has the characters turn around, and then it has one different type of enemy coming at them, and then it just goes black, and you're like, oh man, there's a second type of enemy. Jeez, that's amazing. Like that's kind of the part that like really made me go, I don't know, I wish you showed a few more things going on here, because if I'm just running around shooting stuff and that's it, like, and I mean just this one thing and all I'm doing is shooting it, that doesn't look interesting to me. And I feel like a trailer should show off if there's other options or other things you can do.
I think the top YouTube comment on this trailer on IGN's channel is kind of sums up the best. Where they say, "Man, the things people can do on Gary's mod is cool." Oh wait, you're telling me that's not? Ouch.
Jeez.
Yeah, like I kind of feel that it looks, if this was like a Gary's mod or a Dream thing, but like, dang, this is really really impressive. But it's not.
The other game I want to talk about here is Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt is a vampire battle royale. So I am so curious to see.
Fucking cool.
I really want to see what this game looks like when people are playing it. Again, a cinematic trailer. Don't know if it was in engine or not. I don't think it was. But it definitely is something that I'm like, I mean, come on. If you got powers and guns and you're a vampire and you can just like brutally kill each other, like it could be really cool. And it could be different enough to bring people in. However, I'm not going to bet money on that, and I really want to see what it looks like. So, yeah. And
very neat idea.
This one will be like your most exciting announcement from this thing, because you're just the biggest Fast and Furious fan I know, right? Fast and Furious vehicles arrive in Rocket League next week.
Again, for like the third time.
Oh, really?
And this time it's, they've definitely been there before. They seem to just forgotten the fact that all the other DLCs existed, because they keep adding DLCs that are basically the same amount of content you'd have in like a $4 or $5 DLC before, but are now $20. And just sort of pretending and maybe thinking nobody will notice. And it's really shitty, to be honest. Like, it's really not good, the fact that they've quadrupled the price for getting the same thing. So yeah, looking at this, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I actually really like the Fast and Furious cars. I think they're goofy and dumb, and I like to use them in Rocket League. But I'm not gonna buy this if it's like fucking $20 for one car. That's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. Just trying to pull it up here because I want to play this trailer in the background for the people watching. Planet of Lana. This is a game that actually surprised me. Little indie studio. This game looks awesome, and it totally gives me Inside/Limbo vibes.
Oh yeah, I'm watching this right now. This is gorgeous, Jesus.
And it's so focused on just the audio.
Adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really beautiful. So, yeah, I mean, if you're on audio, it does definitely feel like a Limbo or Inside in terms of it's sort of like 2.5D presentation. Also kind of Ori and the Blind Forest, I would say.
Yeah, I just compare it to like Inside because it seems like the pacing, and it looks like it's more, I think it is a puzzle game. So, whereas Ori would be more action.
It looks like sort of puzzly, like a cinematic platformer type thing. And then the actual art direction looks
fantastic,
fucking beautiful.
Just amazing.
It kind of has the like Breath of the Wild type thing of like a lot of sort of lush greens with like vivid sort of blue accents. Definitely check this out. This looks awesome.
Yeah, you're in this like
super cool
spaceship and stuff. I don't even know.
Got a fun little cute cat dude coming along with you. Also, when we say it's like Limbo or Inside, so we're saying it doesn't look scary like those games. Like
this would be like
that level of dark. Yeah,
it looks like it's a happy version. It could surprise us, but it looks like a happier version of the game. Like there are some creepy elements to it for sure, but it just looks really, really cool. It really impressed me with that trailer. So for me, I was just like, I gotta get this one when it comes out. But 2022, it's still a ways away. We'll see. Pull up my document. Yeah, that was one I was like, I have to tell Zig about this because this one actually looks really awesome.
Yeah, and that's probably the perk of actually watching the show live as opposed to what I did of watching trailers later, is getting forced to actually look at every single game. I think is usually good because, I totally skipped over that thumbnail, but I shouldn't have because that looks freaking awesome.
And then the next one on here, because you're the biggest Fall Guys fan I know, right? No, I'm gonna keep doing this. Nier Automata's 2B's outfit announced for Fall Guys.
It looks
awesome.
So bad. It looks
as soon as I saw it, I was like, hot. So hot.
I know.
Look at that bee.
Like Owen sent me an image of this because I didn't hear that was actually a thing. And like I had like a visceral physical reaction to seeing it of just like, oh, why did they do this? It doesn't look good. And the thing that's distressing to me about it too is, like the little stubby machine life form enemies, like that would have been perfect. Like it's already like the perfect form factor to put them in, and it would have looked so cute. But this just doesn't look good. I mean, 2B's more recognizable, I guess, but I don't know. It's really weird.
Not in that shape.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll move on. But Evil Dead, the game, was shown off in some new gameplay, and I wanted to bring this one up because that game made me laugh when I watched. Because I was like, I'm not interested in this game whatsoever. And it's definitely not a game that I think is going to like, I think it'll have its focused group of people who really like it, and that's cool. But I definitely don't think it's going to take the world by storm or anything. But the graphics for this game actually look really good. And I was so shocked. I was like, wait, what? Because when I heard
really nice.
When I heard Evil Dead the game, I'm like, I had like an image in my head, and it was not going to look that pretty. Because I actually thought it looked really, really nice. Like quality wise, it actually looked like a really well lit and well made a visually looking game. So I don't know, I just laughed because I was like, wow, Nick, I can't believe you doubted these people. You shouldn't doubt people. It was just funny to me.
Yeah, this looks kind of like Friday the 13th game, or what's the other one?
If I'm not mistaken, it might be the same developers. Friday the 13th.
You're probably right now that I say it.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Or now that you say it. Yeah, but and also I can't think of the other one, but yeah, like that genre game, it looks the same as those. But yeah, you're right. It looks very pretty.
Yeah. Also, the Back 4 Blood gameplay trailer showed off a new enemy. I'm excited for Back 4 Blood. I'm really excited to see more tomorrow from it. I'll be working most of the day, but I'm definitely going to be covering whatever they show when I get home. Like, that's a game, like, more Left 4 Dead, sign me up. I have a few friends at work that I'm already, like, talking to, saying, like, once this game comes out, we got to play this. I'm very excited about it. So I'm also kind of, like, I'm wanting to know a bit, but there's a certain point where I'm just going to go, no more information. I'm sold. So I think once
at this point, I'm also really excited about it, but I intentionally scrolled past this trailer in my feed because, yeah, I was sold kind of the moment it was announced. Like, just more Left 4 Dead. Like, yeah, cool. I'm in. Yeah. You don't really need to say a ton more than that. I hope it plays good and doesn't get screwed up in some way that I don't see coming.
Yeah. And then we got to the end, and we got my favorite game of all time that I've never played, Elden Ring. I think I'm more excited for this game. We'll see if Nintendo announces Breath of the Wild 2 if this sticks, but I'm definitely, before even seeing this gameplay, I was definitely more excited for this game than I was for Breath of the Wild 2. Just having so much unknown. And I want to talk about it for a little bit, so I'm just going to flip right over and show this trailer in the background while I'm talking. But yeah, I finally got the trailer for Elden Ring. It's everything I was hoping for and more. It was all game in engine, all gameplay, and only thing I didn't get was HUD, but that's totally fine. I am just so excited to see what exactly the game is, because even though it gave so many answers and brought up so many questions, like, is this game going to be like Breath of the Wild, but a From Software Breath of the Wild? And when I say that, I mean like the way they did it in open world. Right, Breath of the Wild let you go anywhere you wanted and in any order you wanted, and the world was very interactable. And I don't think this game will let you, like, say, light the grass on fire or anything like that. But I could absolutely see them having a huge world. You start in, say, the middle, and you can go in any direction. And maybe certain areas are tougher than others, and you have to defeat certain bosses or enemies in order to gain access to other regions. But having an open world is totally new From Software. And the other Souls game had like zones that kind of connected, and it felt like an open world because you never had to go through a loading screen. But having something that they're specifically saying is an open world, I think really like indicates that they are really trying to do something different here. And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I think open world does fit the Soulsborne sort of style really well. Like, I think it is a really natural fit, given that those games are often largely about exploration, and making that a more open setting. And I totally agree. I think if this borrows the Breath of the Wild format of having just, because I think that they said there is sort of like what was said in the leak of like the 5 kingdoms or whatever that you go to that sort of feel like different areas, or at least that's kind of what I see in this trailer. Like, it looks like there's some very distinct sort of zones.
Yeah, there's definitely.
And if they do set it up like, if they do set it up like Breath of the Wild, where it isn't, go to this one, then this one, but rather just here's the 5 sort of like lords or bosses or whatever you have to defeat, and then do all that, and then beat the final boss. I think that would be really cool, and I don't know. My biggest question now is just what it's doing in terms of gameplay, because this was a gameplay trailer, but it didn't answer the biggest question for me, which was, is it returning to the sort of traditional Dark Souls, very RPG heavy style of gameplay, or is it going to lean a little bit heavier on the side of something like Sekiro, where it has, not quite the same level of grinding and stuff like that. And I think the answer to that question is what will decide whether I play this game or not, I suppose. Like, I think if it is a lot of sort of like grind heavy RPG stuff like it was in the other ones, I will be a little bit less excited about it. But
right.
I don't know. This is the most attractive a From Software game reveal has ever been to me.
Even with the kind of more fantasy and dragons.
Yeah, I mean, I think
awesome.
It all looks cool. It seems like a pretty unique take on it. When it was originally announced, especially the fact that it was called Elden Ring, I was like, oh, like it just gave me the vibe of it being sort of like too Tolkien-y, I suppose. And also the fact that George R.R. Martin does write somewhat traditional fantasy, I feel like, from what I've seen of his works. And it was kind of put off because of that, but seeing this, yeah, like some of the creature designs in there are totally off the chain. Like those guys, like the big bulkier dudes where you can see like their rib cage and like the spikes sort of going through, like that looks super neat. So it does seem like it has sort of a unique take on it all, which I'm a big fan of.
Although a lot of those enemies very much remind me of Dark Souls 3. Very much. Yeah. Like the way Dark Souls 3 does it. But anyways, sorry.
Yeah, and Dark Souls does its own take too. Dark Souls is just a purely gameplay perspective. It turns me off personally. Yeah. But yeah, I think it looks really cool. I am, like I said before, I'm so excited for people that are fans of this, and I'm even a little bit excited for myself. I don't know if I would pay $60 for it, or $70, I guess. But if it comes out and people are saying like, yeah, dude, you really should check this out, like it's great, even if you're sort of newcomer and all those sort of things, and
or you get a gift card.
Yeah, well, it does. Yeah, or that. Maybe I will check it out because it does look very neat.
Yeah, I talk about the combat for a moment, because that was one of the things you brought up there. I am assuming it's going to be very much brought back to Dark Souls 3. It'll be like the Dark Souls 3 games. Well. It looks very much like that. I'm curious to see. So Bloodborne had transforming weapons. Dark Souls 3 had a way to use like specific weapon abilities, and so they would have like a specific ability that used magic somehow. And then Sekiro, you had like the ability to basically block without any negative effects on you, right? If you timed it perfectly. I'm interested to see if they have anything special to add to this, or if they're just going to pull a few things from other games. In order, other than just attack, right? Is block going to take away stamina? Do you have stamina? Does that matter? Do all of your weapons have a couple of different moves or abilities? I don't really know yet, and that's what I really want to find out. Because like having the swords that suddenly go magical and they like longer and they slice, it's like that's kind of neat. But also, is there like other things I can do more? I want to know. I'm sure I'll find out sometime, but we can only speculate right now. I also noticed like you can jump, so that's obviously from Sekiro, but you weren't able to in other Souls games, so that's obviously something I'm really happy about, because that'll really help traversal in an open world. Having a dedicated jump button would be really, really important, which I assume will just translate to jump attacks, so that'd be sweet. It shows stealth, which also obviously brought from Sekiro, because that wasn't in Souls games either. So I think that they're definitely taking some like useful elements, and I do stand by what I said a while back that I do think that this game will make backstabbing only available if you can sneak up on an enemy. And I think that's really important, because in Souls games you can't just run around an enemy and backstab them for a real strong critical hit, and then they get back up and you place yourself perfectly so you can just backstab them again, and that becomes pretty cheesy. But yeah, that like all the combat stuff that looks interesting. Obviously I'll like it either way, but what you said, you hope it's not as grindy as the other games, I was totally with you on that. I totally think that like, yeah, if they can somehow make this more like Sekiro in that way, where if you beat a certain boss, you get, a piece of heart or whatever, to use a Zelda translation there. But it's like you get a couple of these things, then maybe you can upgrade your health, and then you get a couple of these things, you can upgrade your weapon. But you have to do these certain challenges to get it, and you can go anywhere in the world to do these challenges, and like that kind of thing would be really fun. And I totally think that would be rewarding. And I don't think we need to level up our magic stat or our strength stat or anything like that. But going off of that, and I know I've been talking for a while here, but going off of that, showing that you can wear all kinds of different armor, that's super important to me. They've confirmed that you can customize your character still. That's super important to me. I really liked that because I love making goofy looking characters in the Souls game. That's fun. And then having different weapons. So choosing your play style has always been something I really enjoyed. I love Sekiro for the fact that they just made the combat so strong around that one weapon. But I do like having the option to go, do I want to have dual daggers? Do I want to have a bow and arrow? Do I want to have a catalyst and shoot spells? Do I want to just go and try to beat the whole game just holding a shield? Like, that was something that I really enjoyed in Souls games. So, yeah, I think that's about it. That's all I have to say right now.
Awesome. Yeah, I personally think that it moving to an open world will help a lot of my issues with Souls games, I think. Like when we're talking about grinding here, I think having it to an open world, and especially if they go, if that Breath of the Wild inspiration we're talking about does kind of shine through, the way Breath of the Wild, you level Link up is just exploring. Like if you want to get better, if you want more stamina, more hearts, you just explore and you go do shrines and you go to little side stuff, and it's all fun and engaging.
Yeah,
you're never just attacking, low level enemies or whatever, and slowly grinding up your XP and doing the same thing over and over again, because that's kind of what I did feel when I was playing Bloodborne is, getting better, you just run the same route again and again and again and again and again. And that's, fine. It just was boring to me. But if my way to, grind and level up and get better is not that, but instead just exploring, go, oh, it seems like there's something kind of interesting looking over here. Let's go over there. Oh, there's a mini boss. I beat him. Some other enemies doing that. I found some sort of treasure, that sort of thing. And I'm exploring. I'm doing stuff that's engaging and fun and new. And that is how I'm getting better. That's how I'm leveling up. I think that is a way better system of doing things. And what you're talking about stealth, yeah, I think it will return, and I really hope it does, because I think stealth in the open world format works even better than it does in a linear format, and that when you have a camp or something, you have a camp of enemies, and having that ability to approach it from any angle, do you want to go stealth, do you want to go sort of sword blazing, I suppose. And I think this format, if done right, will alleviate a lot of my issues, and I know issues that other people who've tried Souls games have, which I think is great. I think that'll be really great. Another thing I heard mentioned after the fact, it's not really shown in the trailer, but that there will be some increased tools in terms of like co-op and making that a little bit more streamlined. I think that will also be a really good thing in terms of accessibility, like getting people to actually play the game, who are maybe a little intimidated or turned off by it. Because having like you or something go with me, who knows how to play the game, is good at it, and can help me get past tough things.
Yeah, 4-player co-op they confirmed.
For newer players trying to go in. Yeah, 4-player. Oh wow, yeah, that's super cool then. But yeah, I think the things that they're talking about in this game are really, really attractive to me, in terms of making the Soulsborne formula something that I do actually enjoy.
That's so awesome.
I've said it before, though. I'll say it again. I do wish FromSoft would make another genre of game, because they used to make so many different things. Like, I want them to make a first-person game again. Their first-person games were so wild. I want to see that from them again at some point. But I mean, hey, if this is what they want to keep doing, then good on them for it.
Yeah, and honestly, that's just it. I'm just excited. I want to see more. Oh yeah, you can summon a horse. I just have to say that you can summon a horse. So obviously, big world. Because if you can just summon a horse whenever you want, they know it's going to take a while to get from point A to point B. Yeah. So just wanted to touch real quick then also on Battlefield, because that was shown the day before. Battlefield 2042. I'm not a huge Battlefield fan, but I thought there was a couple interesting things with this game coming out, as there are the rumors about it being an Xbox Game Pass game. and coming out day one. And whether that's true or not, we'll find out, I'm sure, on Sunday, because people were given a countdown for like an hour to watch like a 3-minute trailer on Wednesday. And luckily I was at work and I just didn't really care. So I just waited till I came home, and then I watched it, made a little video. And I think the game trailer looked exciting. I just need to see gameplay now. I just thought it was really funny that they had this reveal, countdown, this day that it's going to be shown and all this stuff. And then you get this cinematic trailer that was cool, but how like accurate is it to your experience in multiplayer? Right?
For something to mention, this is going to be a multiplayer only game, and to reveal a multiplayer only game with a cinematic trailer feels really goofy to me, because like personally I enjoy cinematic trailers. I do see the merit in them because it establishes a tone and sort of a story setup, especially if it's a sequel. Seeing a cinematic trailer and being like, oh, it's back, this is what they're doing with the sequel from a story perspective, that's great, that's valuable. For something like this, like I guess I do know how Battlefield plays already, and it'll probably play somewhat similarly, but cinematic trailer when it's multiplayer only is like, hey, cool, I think there's a wingsuit in there, it kind of showed some cool things. But overall, I still don't know anything about the actual multiplayer from looking at this. But something that one of the first things I want to talk about here is, so they are removing the campaign. It's going to be multiplayer only, and it is also a $70 game.
Full price game.
So how do you feel about the fact that this is a game that is more expensive than Battlefield 5, but with it looks like significantly less content?
Well, I think it's coming to Game Pass, so it won't really matter to me. I think that when they showed at the end of the trailer that gameplay will be shown on June 13th. And then it didn't say in the trailer, but like that is at the Xbox event. They've confirmed it's at the Xbox event. That's when they're going to show gameplay. Why?
Does EA play that day also? Do you know?
No, EA plays in July. I think it's July 20 something.
Then actually,
seems reasonable. Yeah, I felt like, okay, the fact that because my first thought was, oh, they're going to show it at an EA Play thing. And then, July, okay, it's not that. So it's Xbox's event. Okay, that's on the 13th. Yeah, it's probably that. Then it gets confirmed. Okay, it is at Xbox's event. So the fact that they're putting it there and they have EA Play on Game Pass already, I think it just keeps pointing arrows at it's going to be on Game Pass. And so besides the Game Pass part, I think that's ridiculous that it's $70. I think it's ridiculous that it's full price, and I think that would be shooting them in the foot if it wasn't for Game Pass. But I think if it is on Game Pass, they'll be fine. I think it'll be no problem because it'll go. Well, here, I'll just finish. So I think if it's on Game Pass, enough people can try it, and through word of mouth, you get friends. Oh, play this. And if friends I've been convinced multiple times to buy a full price game because my friend really wants me to play, or I would get Game Pass. So it's a win for Xbox in that way too. Like either way, I could see it being a good deal, and I could see it actually working out all right. Do I think they'll become number one and beat Call of Duty or Warzone? No. But I do think it could possibly be a smart decision to try to get Battlefield back at the front where people actually think about it again as like a fun game. Because I don't think of it ever right now.
No, I was going to say, I feel like Battlefield has been having a really steep decline in interest in the last little bit. Like I remember Battlefield 1, there's a ton of hype leading into that, and then it got released and people definitely liked it, but it seemed like that sort of died off. Then Battlefield 5, I really heard absolutely nothing about it. And so, I do think Game Pass will be really good for the game in terms of, garnering some excitement for it and building a community around it. But I do feel like that $70 price point, I don't think it should just be swept away with the fact that if it's on Game Pass, because that's still a pretty large amount of players that would be paying full price for it. And I think that is $70 is a lot for a Battlefield multiplayer game, where unless they're adding like a ton of content to this in terms of multiplayer, like several very interesting new modes, which I think they did talk about having some interesting new stuff in terms of modes, which is good. But
they're also going to have a battle pass.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think there's two things for me that would have to be. It would have to be, one, they'd have to add a lot, and two, they would have to really fucking tone down the microtransactions. Like, it would have to be almost completely rid of it for me to be like, yeah, you know what, that price point makes sense. Because to be honest, yeah, if I'm paying full price for a multiplayer game and I just pay that and I have it and I can unlock everything within the game, maybe there's a battle pass, but it's free. It's like a free premium battle pass, so I'm still getting that content, that excitement to keep coming back and playing. And it does, have a lot of meaningful new content. I would probably change my mind a little bit on it of like, yeah, you know what, $70 for all that, it's fair pricing, all these things, that seems reasonable. But knowing EA, I don't think that's going to be the case. We'll see. I should talk too early about that, but I don't know. I think Game Pass will be really good for it.
You think it's just?
I do think it will be coming to Game Pass, if not on launch, then like a month or so after launch.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's
pretty egregious?
You think it's just like the time and place that makes it so awful for it to be a full price multiplayer game? Because when you while you were talking, so I haven't really given much thought to this, but like Overwatch was a multiplayer only game and it was full price. And I remember I paid that, and then I had the loot boxes and all that stuff. And sorry, I'm getting distracted. My headphones keep crackling. I think Taylor might be microwaving or something. It always messes with the signal. Sorry. Anyways, like that game was a multiplayer only game. I bought it and like it didn't have a battle pass, right? But I know that I definitely still made purchases with the loot boxes at the time, and I just was oblivious, and it was kind of earlier on, and I just wasn't really caring. I just wanted to just buy a few of them and see what happened. But I don't know. That was a full price game. It was a multiplayer game. So do you think it's just timing?
I think part of what makes it feel different is, I mean, for one, Overwatch's multiplayer is what I was talking about, where it was robust as fuck, and there is all these different modes, and it's insanely replayable. I'm still playing the game today. And so that $60 investment did feel valuable. And yeah, it did have loot boxes, but I think because you aren't unlocking characters or anything really terribly meaningful, I don't know, those microtransactions never felt super egregious to me personally.
Because you could earn them in game.
But I think the big thing that separates it from me of Overwatch to this is the fact that there is that direct comparison to Battlefield 5 of I'm getting less content for $10 more, and I think that is the thing that to me makes me go like, ugh, like that really doesn't feel attractive. Whereas Overwatch is, I mean, when it got announced as coming from a company with a pedigree of really great, really long-lasting games, like StarCraft 2 and shit like that is still an esport today. And so there's a little bit of like, yeah, you know what, that makes sense. But I think for me, it is just the fact that it's a sequel to something that had a single player, and now that it doesn't, it just feels like they're taking something away.
Right. No, I think that's totally fair, and I think that's great points. It was just something that popped in my head there, but I also like thinking about it a bit more. That's what I was gonna say. This crackling is really distracting. Damn, I had a really good point I wanted to make. It happens, folks.
I think it kind of filled the gap here. I think we were talking about timing is also a fair point where now we have Apex Legends, we have Warzone, we have a lot of really good AAA multiplayer only experiences that are all free to play. And I think when you're comparing what will likely, I feel like, be a similar experience in terms of, like how long I'm going to be playing and how fun it is. And when, one's $70, one is free. And if that $70 game also has, a battle pass and all these things that the free-to-play games have in terms of monetization, it's going to be like, well, why would I pay $70 for that? I can just go play Apex because that is free.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing I was just going to say is I think also a big difference is like, and everyone has their own opinion, but I think quality of gameplay. Like gameplay is what makes people really talk about something a lot and talk about how fun it is, how other people should try it out, and all those things. And really, that should be the thing that really decides on how valuable a game is more than anything else, I think. Because if it's really fun and it plays really, really well, then it's totally worth whatever you think it's worth as a consumer. Like you're not getting a worse deal if you pay $70 for Battlefield 2042 if you think it's so fun, it's so worth it to you. But like, how are they going to get people to do that with us? Like they need to really show something new, because I definitely agree with a lot of people that the last Battlefield did not look really cool. I didn't play it at all because I definitely didn't think it looked fun. The one before it I didn't find fun. The last Battlefield game I actually found fun was Battlefield Bad Company 2 in 2010, I want to say. And the last one I played was Battlefield 3, whenever the heck that came out. So, and even that one I know I didn't have a ton of fun with. But I think when I was younger, the gameplay of Battlefield, just what it was, you can grab a tank, barge through a wall, and everything shatters, and like that stuff was new. It was really cool. There was these special moments that you had, and you're like playing different roles as like a medic and someone else, and you're trying to help each other out, and you're like, okay, I got these mines for the tanks that are coming our way, and you're trying to take out points, and you're not really thinking about, like, at least I wasn't as that young kid. I'm not thinking about 17, and I was just not worrying about what's the meta, what's the balancing on these weapons and stuff, which a lot of 17-year-olds nowadays actually think about and actually know about, right? But for me, it just wasn't a thing. It wasn't something you had to worry about. It wasn't, and so just the fact that you could see that guns had bullet drop, that was cool and different than Call of Duty. And when you get a headshot with a sniper rifle from a long ways away, you'd go, "Holy cow, I got that! That was sick." Nowadays, it's like, okay, that's just another one, but what's actually cool and happening? And like that's my view, and I think that is a lot of people's view too. Where what is Battlefield going to do to be different now? Because bashing through a wall with a tank isn't as cool as it was 11 years ago. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. The sort of, I mean, yeah, like the whole, like, only in Battlefield meme that was around for a while of, like crazy shit happening because of that game's, pretty robust engine. I don't think that that's quite as special as it was then. I mean, it really just look at the Battle Royale genre, because that sort of like really intense, cool, clip-worthy, emergent gameplay is kind of, it's that exists so hard in the Battle Royale genre, because that's what that whole genre is built around. Just, in a different way. It's not about busting a tank through a wall. It's more about like, I got in this fight, and then like we got third-party here, and I ended up, wiping that whole squad, and it was a super crazy high moment, those sort of things. It's just a different style of thing, but I think it is the same appeal and same spirit of that sort of chaos and emergent, sort of ludo-narrative stories. And so I think... Yeah, I agree. I think Battlefield really has to find a way to make it feel attractive within the current gaming space, which I don't think it's doing a very good job of doing. And I think, I don't know, maybe part of that is setting as well, because World War I was actually really interesting to me, because that's a setting that hasn't been portrayed much, if at all, in games. And that's why I was interested in Battlefield 1 originally. Like, oh, that's really cool, having, like the gas mask, all these things that it's doing historically, I thought were really interesting. Into Battlefield 5, I was like, World War II, I've seen that so many times in games now, like, it's just really lost interest. Especially, and then into this, the sort of like near future sort of thing, again, has been done so many times. I dig
the near future stuff, though. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I dig it too. It's just, it doesn't stand out, It doesn't feel unique to me, which is kind of the general theme of what I'm talking about here, of just Battlefield doesn't feel unique anymore. And I think also its style of emergent gameplay, like I was talking about, is, at least to me, not nearly as fun as a lot of what's on the market right now. Like, the emergent gameplay that in Battlefield often just kind of felt like bullshit. I'd be playing, I get killed like a million times over and again, like as soon as I spawn, because it's just so chaotic. And that's cool. That's kind of a novelty. Like, like there's just so much shit happening around you, and it's an interesting style. But in terms of what I want to be playing for 200 hours in a multiplayer game, that's just not it.
Totally. I agree.
It's got a lot of hurdles to jump over. I hope it can stick the landing.
Yeah, I don't think it will, but yes, I agree.
I wish the best for it. So something I want to talk about, because there's some other trailers that just sort of got brought up in amongst different things. I couldn't even tell you what shows they're from. The first big one was Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, which I don't really know why this game needs a re-release. The stuff it's adding seemed kind of whatever. It's adding like art or whatever into the game. That's kind of cool. But the thing that's interesting to me is that it's coming to consoles.
Interesting.
I don't know how that will work.
Especially with the meta stuff that you kind of talked about, I think, on the show before.
I don't want to spoil too much about it, but like that, it does things that are only possible on a computer.
Put your PS4 into sleep mode and then unplug it from the
wall. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they found a way around it and changed the ending to sort of fit that, but interesting. I'm interested to see what it does. Ollie Ollie World looks really fucking cool. That is probably one of the cooler trailers I've seen of E3 so far.
Have it up now.
Ollie Ollie is a franchise. I don't know if I've talked about it before on here, but I fucking love Ollie Ollie 1 and 2.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, so it's sort of like a 2D arcade skating game. It's super cute, super fun. It's got great music. It's
I like the art.
Not as robust as like So this one I'll talk about that in a sec. But it's never really been as robust as like a Tony Hawk or a Skate. It's definitely a lot even more arcadey than like a Tony Hawk Pro Skater. But what's interesting about this is before they were 2D hand drawn. The first one was pixel art. The second one was sort of like a more hand drawn art style. But then this one is going into full 3D, which I think is really awesome. And even in like its level design, it seems like there's a bit of 3D in it. Which I guess we'll see in a sec. But yeah, this just seems like such a cool evolution of the series where they are making it a world as the name would suggest. They're giving it like actual characters and there's just so much detail in the settings. It kind of reminds me of Adventure Time in a way, honestly.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Like the world and the characters.
The tree in the background. Yeah.
It's okay. I am super hyped for this game.
This kind of game normally just doesn't do it for me. Like any kind of sport game, any kind of like BMX racing, or biking and just like skateboarding, and none of that stuff really catches me normally. But I actually want to play this. This actually looks a lot of fun. And I actually really want to play this one now. Fun. That looks awesome.
If you want to experience Ollie Ollie, I believe 1 or 2, I forget which one. I think they're on Game Pass. Let me double check real quick though. Ollie Ollie 2 though is fucking fantastic.
If it is, I'll definitely be playing it tomorrow morning.
I'm looking up if it's on Game Pass right now. No, it's not. Shoot. But yeah, no, cool game. Super hyped for that. And then also they showed off a sort of teaser for the Cuphead Netflix show. I think kids will fucking love this show, and I think that's what they're going for. That's what matters. So good on them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was about it for now. It's important probably to say that we're recording this on Friday evening.
Mm-hmm. Right before
E3. likely by the time this publishes, even though it seems like we have a pretty good turnaround on recording and publishing right now, stuff will probably get announced. Breath of the Wild 2 gets shadow dropped.
Right. Tonight. This is gonna be posted
before the direct.
This is posted tomorrow morning. This is posted tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Saturday. That's when this is posting.
We probably won't miss anything by then, but in case we do, it's important to mention we're not just skipping over it. We are simply living in the past right now. But is there anything else you want to mention?
Just our favorite games of all time. We got a couple to go through today. Just real quick. We're fine for time. I think we're just hit about an hour, so we're good. But we want to get a couple of these done, and we're probably going to do a couple more next week because we missed a few episodes. Let's. And we're also going to have a little bit of a note to make to tell everybody out there about what we're doing with Game Club moving forward. So let's just start with our top favorite games of all time, top 50 games of all time, numbers 33 and 32. What if we go back and forth? We'll start with our 33s.
I like that.
And then we'll do our 32s. How about you go first, Zig?
All right. So my number 33 is the Stanley Parable, which is one of the most unique games I've played. Like that game, obviously it's not revolutionary to say that it's, a great game, but it just caught me by surprise so hard. Like I remember just hearing like the name and seeing that it basically, because it's, fully in the Source engine. I remember thinking that it looked very similar to games that I enjoyed. Because I played this for the first time a good while ago. Going through it, not really knowing what to expect, thinking that I finished it and then realizing that there's just so much underneath the surface of this game. And
Yeah.
then, playing it again and again and realizing like, oh my God, it's so much bigger than I can imagine. And the re-release of it, fuck, I'm so excited for that because they're adding, it seems like, a lot of new content into it. And getting to have that experience again of, like, just discovery. Like, I wonder what would happen if I do this. And then suddenly a whole, like, hour-long branch of stuff happens after that. I'm like, oh my God, like, it is so cool. The bit where it becomes Minecraft for a while, like...
What? I didn't see that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's like there's so much in this game. It is just a treasure trove of shit to find, and all of it is so cool. It has some interesting sort of things about the nature of storytelling. It's so good.
It's a very good game. I totally agree.
Yeah. What about yours though?
My number 3 is kind of similar to the last one I put out there. Last time I talked about my top favorite was Fallout 3. This one's Skyrim. They are the only games like that I have on my list, but they're both different genres, right, or different types of theme to them. One very fantasy, one more set in a I guess still fantasy, but like post-apocalyptic world, very different. Anyways, Skyrim is that game that for so many people, including myself, just like pulled me in, made me spend hundreds of hours with it, and then once I thought I was done with it, I built a PC. And then I started modding it. And then I spent hundreds of more hours with it. And it's that game that even though it's not my favorite game, and it's not even close to my favorite game of all time, right? I think if I had access to the internet and mods, I guess is a better way of saying it, that would be the one game I'd want to be stuck with if I had to be stuck with one game for the rest of my life. Because I find it just very fun and rewarding playing around with mods and then playing around with different parts of the game and then just starting new characters, going through it over and over again. It's that game that if I can't think of anything to play and I just start it up, I could easily lose a few hours and then find a different game I want to play another day. But like, I don't know, something about it is just fun. Even the jank that I find now, I still find it charming because it's ingrained in my mind. Like I played it back on the 360 with the like minute-long loading times when you'd go into a door to get into someone's house, and it was the worst. You'd enter a door and you just sit there looking at a 3D model spinning in your screen, and then you finally get in there and you go, oh shoot, this is the wrong room. You go back out, sit there, loading screen, like. And I didn't even think that was weird at the time. And man, aren't we just spoiled now? Got the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5, and you just instantly load up a game. So it's so wild. And that's like 10, 11 years. Thank God I'm only 28. And like in another 11 years, I'll still be young enough that I can play a video game somewhat okay. Skyrim is just like a lot of fun. All the different things you can do, all the different mods have like that the community has created has made the game super fun. Like being able to spawn and like start a new character with a different like backstory in any area in all these different areas, and then like you kind of start, it chooses what equipment you begin with, and then like other mods to make like the class you choose have more like passive bonuses and negatives to your character. Like those things are just so fun. I wouldn't say I love Skyrim as the base game, but I do love the game with mods. And I just have had so much fun with it that I can't not have it on my list. And it definitely etches out Fallout because I do like I love dragons more than I like nuclear Fallout. So
yeah,
what's your
that's probably have the same thing say on Skyrim that I would Fallout 3. But yeah, my 32 is Beat Saber, which I've been playing a fuck ton of lately, actually. In fact, I've had to kind of chill out the last few days because my shoulder started hurting real bad for a few days. And I was like, you know what? I should chill out. I don't want to like actually injure myself. But yeah, Beat Saber is, I think, just kind of like pretending Half-Life Alyx doesn't exist. You know my feelings on that.
Yeah.
Beat Saber is just kind of like exactly what VR does well, put into one thing, where it's immersive as fuck. It's physical, it's visceral. It's amazing cardio, honestly. I burn a shit ton of calories playing that game. And yeah, I think the biggest thing is that it is one of the most rewarding games I've played in terms of getting good at it, where getting to the point where being able to play a level up on a song that I couldn't beat before. Where I can beat it on hard, and then finally, yes, I beat it on expert for the first time. And I start playing other levels on expert. I'm like, yes, I'm finally at the level where I can beat beat songs on expert. Just recently, I've come to the point where I can start doing stuff in expert plus, and going back looking at songs that I used to have trouble with, like, God, I'm like falling asleep playing this. This is so easy. And the way it like just puts you in this flow state where you aren't even thinking when you're playing it, like you just see a pattern of notes coming
reacting
at you, and you just do it, and you just do it. And like I could not describe what the fuck I just did, but I'm doing it, and I don't know, it's so cool. I think great example of that just the other night was actually when I almost injured myself. There's a song on that was like probably easily the hardest song I was trying to beat. And then I was almost there. Like, I kept getting like 3/4 of the way through. There's just one section that was fucking me up. So, I went into practice mode, did that section like a million times, really got it down. And then went through, it was like, hey, this is it. I went through it, failed at that section. I was like, fuck, starting getting really pissed at myself, did again, failed at that section. Again, I'm like, why? I could do this before. I was starting to get like discouraged. And then finally, the moment happened, I did it. I beat the song. It's like, oh, like I just ripped off the headset, like laid on my floor and just like sweaty as fuck, for doing that all. And it was just this amazing experience of just like pure dopamine rushing through my body of finally conquering that mountain that I've been trying to for so long.
That's great.
I think probably similar experience of why people like Souls games. And for me, this is just that for me, finally climbing that mountain, doing something that I couldn't do before. It just feels so good. And I kind of wish I had friends that were really, really into it, because I would love to have that sort of like competing on scores on levels, like, shit, they beat my high score. Like, I need to do better. Because the score portion of it, I've never gotten super into. For me, it's just beating levels that are really, really difficult. It's such a rush for me. But yeah, Beat Saber is a weirdly like emotional experience. I think if you haven't played it, like when you really get into it, you really start, when you really start feeling it. I think the thing that pushes it from like a good game to a great game, similar to Skyrim, is mods. Like when you're just playing the stock levels, it is really fun. It is really good. But I think what really pushes it forward is just the community with mods and custom songs and all those things, especially since a lot of the custom songs are arguably better than the songs that are built in. Like in terms of just the mapping of the levels. But yeah, fucking amazing game. I'm at the point now where every game on here is like one of the best I've played at something, and for this I think it's that emotional experience of climbing that hurdle and finally beating something.
I think like I really do want to play that one. I know I won't unless I get access to, say, the next PlayStation VR and it has it, or the next Beat Saber or whatever, right? But like I need something that's easier to set up than my Vive. And I'm realizing more and more that like even this room is not very big, but the living room is. But I don't want to bring my whole PC out to the living room and like unplug everything that's already hooked up, and then set up the sensors and then put on the thing. And I'm like, there's more than just Beat Saber that I want to play in VR. Like I would love to buy Half-Life, even though it's not with the Valve Index. Like I still want to play it with what I have, and it's just one of those things.
Oculus Quest, baby.
That's cute.
It is exactly what you're talking about. It's.
Oh, I know, but I'm not gonna get it. Like I want to wait until the new tech comes out. I want to get the next PlayStation one, right? But like that,
I totally feel the same way. It was just, I think having it portable is so cool. I do wish you get into it. I pulled this out though because we're talking about VR. I wanted to mention I did a whole lot of mods to this thing recently. I bought a Vive Deluxe audio strap, which you can see on it if the camera won't solve it from existence.
Or if you're not listening. Zig's holding up his headset of his Oculus.
Also, like a 3D printed sort of adapter to actually strap it on. And man, it makes it such a better experience. I hate the strap that these things come
cool.
with. It's just this like shitty, flimsy fabric strap. But with this, it's real comfortable. It's real good. Nice. Anyways, what's your number 32?
Well, my number 32 is a really important one for me. It's the original Destiny 1. And that game, oh boy. That game did a lot for me.
Under my desk.
That game did a lot for me as a kid. Or not even a kid, what am I talking about? But as a person. And honestly, like not knowing anything about that type of game. Like they created a type of game basically, right? Like I thought when it first came out, I was like, oh, they're trying to be Borderlands, but online, right? All the time. But but it ended up being something totally different, and they did something special with it. And I think the more broken and unbalanced the game was, the more fun it was. But that's just me. Learning about the game, that was the first experience I had getting into a community that was fully in on a game. It was the first time I got into reading blog posts every Thursday from the community manager from Bungie, right? And like you would read that and hear what updates are coming out, that they hear us, they know what's frustrating for us or what's going on. And then first time I got to experience like YouTubers that I'd actually follow and start watching their content that they covered the game I was playing. It was all those first things for me that really started to pull me into the games industry, I think, more than ever. Before that, it was just I like video games. Cool, I like playing them. And then starting to realize, oh, these people are streaming Destiny and they're making money, and that's cool, and like they're doing it as a career. Oh, these people are just making videos on the lore, and they're making that into like what they do. And I thought that kind of stuff was super cool and inspiring. And then that just opened my eyes to all the different things and all the different content everyone was making. And then I think also just the industry and the kind of people that would do that stuff just started booming at that point and started going up from there. And it just really pulled me in, and it really made me appreciate gaming and appreciate communities around those things, appreciate developers listening and hearing feedback and be able to like make adjustments in their game based off of that. And honestly, Bungie has done like the best job. Like they were the original ones to do the best job of just like hearing the community, giving good feedback, working on stuff, having a good back and forth with the people that are playing their game. And I think that they were like an inspiration for a lot of studios. And so Destiny was just like this really important, interesting thing that pushed me out of my comfort zone when you're looking for a group to do a raid or to do like something really challenging. Hi, are you excited to do this? Okay, cool. Hi, nice to meet you. You know, and you're like, I remember I made a friend from New Zealand that I don't even remember his name now. So this is like 2015 or something like that. And but like that was really cool. And like I still have his username on my Xbox. I probably will never message him, but it was just cool to be like, yeah, we played this raid. And like when I started up Destiny 2, and it has this like, and it has this artwork that just shows kind of like all the things you accomplished in Destiny 1, and it would show the nameplates of all the people you did that raid with. And I remember seeing names popping up from like 2014 or 2015 and being like, holy cow, I forgot about those guys. What a moment. And like, I haven't had any game that's brought back like memories like that, where you're like, that was such a cool time. I remember that challenge, and I remember us accomplishing that and doing that together. That was cool. I wonder how those guys are doing. I've never felt that for anything else before. So I was like, I have to have this on my top 50 list. That is such a special game to me.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Destiny absolutely created a genre that, and I think they, even with Destiny 1, did it better than most games that are doing it today of trying to emulate that feeling and that experience. Destiny's a really special game. I have similar experiences with it. I only played the vanilla version. I never played any of the expansions just because I didn't really have the money for them at the time. But yeah, that was one of the first like online games I really got into. Like that was the game that I bought Xbox Live Gold for because I had a friend I wanted to play with, and doing strikes together. Yeah, and having that whole experience, doing with random people, all those things. It's just, a really special experience for me as well, of the community around it. I don't think I was as into the community and stuff as you were. I think just because I was significantly younger than you were at the time. But yeah, it's just very special game.
Agreed. I don't have Destiny 2 on my list, FYI, for anyone wondering. It is not anywhere on my list.
Yeah, I don't have either one on my list. I don't really know. I feel like maybe it should be. I don't know. I think all these 50 games just in such high regard to me, but I guess that's a good question. So, as a game, do you prefer Destiny 1 over Destiny 2? Like, kind of trying
absolutely.
to separate nostalgia
without a hesitation. The PvP was not super balanced, but it was hella fun. And I actually found just the moments in the campaign. I found the moments in the raids. I found the raids better. I found like a lot of stuff that I thought wasn't great in the moment. When I look back to it, it definitely was a lot better than what they're doing now. And yeah, I definitely think it's a better game. I think Destiny 2 is more balanced, but again, like I keep saying, I don't think that makes it a better game. I think that makes it better in certain ways, but I think something about a game where you're not like, I know they have a PvP mode, but a game when you're fighting enemies and like AI enemies and you're fighting bosses, discovering the things that are broken or the most powerful art is just really fun to discover and to do. And in Destiny 2, there's just a lot of, you know what, we made this thing strong a couple months back and we're actually realizing that's too strong because now nothing can be as good as it, so we're going to make it really crappy. Now you have to choose something else. And they're like, okay, cool, I'll try something else. Now we're going to make that crappy because everyone's choosing that. Because we all talk to each other. We all share like, oh, this is the coolest thing for me right now. That everyone wants to follow that YouTuber or that person, right? And I think that's just normal. But like the fact that has to be a negative now, it's too much of that. And I think that's making it a negative experience for me. Whereas in Destiny 1, I think it was fun just being like, oh, this happens to be the way they patch the game for now, and we're gonna wait. Like they're gonna wait 3 months before they do anything different, and this is just a lot of fun. And a lot of stuff never got fixed, and that was still fun to me. Anyways, yeah, I do think it's a better game. I think the content was better too. I think it was more fun. The story wasn't better, but the gameplay and the kind of stuff, the activities you were doing, I do think was a lot better.
Cool.
Right,
so
yeah, we've been talking for a while.
Let's talk about the future of Game Club.
Let's do it. Game Club. So in the past, we've been trying to, for the most part, we've been playing a game every week. Last couple of weeks, we took off just as things got busy and we had games we were trying to play besides the Game Club game. And right now, we were talking about, Ziggy and I were talking offline, of course, the other day about what we wanted to do with it, because we don't want to be wishy-washy and just kind of, this week we have something, next week we don't, and that kind of thing. So we're trying to make a plan, and I think we landed on, and correct me if I'm wrong, because it was like a week ago or something, but I believe we landed on, we're going to try to do Game Club and make it a monthly thing. So we will have a game of the month, and we may or may not touch on certain things from the game as we're playing through it throughout the weeks, but we'll definitely bring it back and talk about it in a more significant way at the end of the month. And just be like, hey, this is what I thought I did, this is how far I got. And then that way we're able to take the time and actually, sometimes in a week, it's a really busy week and we don't get enough time to put into it. And you guys have seen that. I've had days where I've only been able to put like 20 minutes into a game, and I try to have something to say about it.
Forget altogether on my end.
Yeah, right? Like, and same here before. So like, it's one of those things where having a month, we have no excuses. At least we'll make some progress into the game and we'll have some stuff to talk. So we'll do our best to not really spoil anything throughout the month, but we'll definitely come back and talk about it. It won't ever be here's the episode all about this Game Club game, but it will definitely be talked about more at the end of the month. I hope that makes it clear.
Yeah, I think this is a better way. We've kind of struggled before, like Nick was talking about, like the commitment of playing a game just over a week, I think is hard to really get down. Especially when a lot of the time it's not something that's like new and exciting, you know, when there is new and exciting stuff coming out where, you know, there's stuff that we quite honestly just want to play more. And, you know, to put aside time, like I know, Nick, you've said this several times, but sort of thing where, you know, you're sitting down and play video games, you're like, I could, you know, play this game that I'm sort of obligated to play, or I could play this game that I'm really excited to play. And not saying, you know, the game we're playing is bad, but just, it's, you know, there's something you're more excited about, and that's totally fair. And yeah, I think just having a month gives us a lot more time to get excited about the game, I suppose, or just have more time to have that night, you know, or even if it is just a night in the whole month, you know, because sometimes it's just the way life works, that we can devote to it and just having it be a more reliable experience so you're not just getting 20 minutes or whatever like it often was in the past. I think this is better for us, better for you guys, better overall.
Absolutely. So with that being said, Psychonauts is going to be our game of this month of June. We know it's a little bit into June, but we'll be fine. Yeah, we'll be fine. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna play Psychonauts. I'm actually really interested in this one, and as a perfect example of what you were just saying, like if we were gonna do Psychonauts right now, and it was just for this week, and let's say I had Deathloop, I would be like really having a tough time because I'd be really wanting to play Deathloop, and only if I beat Deathloop would I be wanting to put some time into Psychonauts, or if I put, you know, a week into it. So that's a perfect example of like the reason why we're doing this kind of thing, because I do want to play Psychonauts. Just not going to be at the top of my list ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that all being said, I guess, Zig, you kind of already mentioned your Vertical Slice podcast, right? Earlier on in the show. Yeah. But yeah, again, people, you can check that out in the description below. If you like this show, please leave a like and subscribe, and follow this for more. You can follow me on Twitter at @I_Nicolobe, and I put up updates all the time on like whether we're not going to record or not. Like that. We're trying not to avoid missing an episode, but life happens, and sometimes you miss one. But that's where I would be updating that for those who are curious. Thanks for watching, and if you watch this far or listen this far, really appreciate it. Until next time, keep peeking that screen.
Yeah, see you guys later.
Bye, everyone.